Hey y'all. So today I want to talk about body image and yeah, it's just been on my mind lately. So I don't know. Let's contextualize things for anyone who's not doesn't know anything about me. In 2019, I lost like 50 pounds and I carried that through 2020. I was wicked slim. 3 years ago, I weighed about 145 pounds. I'm sitting about 205 right now. I honestly haven't weighed myself in a while, but I pretty much fluctuate between 195 205. Earlier this year I was up as high as like 215. Um but I came back down. I was like intentionally like, okay, I need to stop eating out so much and like curb this oversway that's happening, but because I was just starting to feel kind of crappy. But for basically the last now two basically since 2021 I gained. So coming out of 2020, I started gaining weight again because I was not working out the same way and I stopped restrictively eating, which is what helped me lose weight in the first place. I was counting calories. I was like drinking a gallon of water, and like if I hit my calories by a certain point and I was still hungry, I just chewed gum. Like, I mean, I literally was like starving myself to stay small. So like it was not a sustainable way to live at all. Do I love the way I looked then? Absolutely. I think I looked really good. And I hate that because I'm just feeding into society's like standard of what is attractive and what is healthy. So I've just like recently, so like every once in a while, I just randomly scroll back through my videos and click on one. Because I just kind of like, this is why I do this. It's interesting to be like, what was I thinking about 4 years ago? What was on my mind? What was my focus then? Because I don't really remember, obviously, unless you like journal or video journal, you don't really remember the day to day thoughts and feelings you're having, you know? So I was watching one about body image where about this time in 2021, I was like, I'm feeling really bad about myself because I've gained all the weight back. Like, I had started out in 2019 when I was going to start losing weight, basically where I am right now. This was my before. This was my, oh my God, I can't believe I'm so huge. I need to lose weight, and as I lost weight, it was the, oh my God, I can't believe I ever looked like that. I look terrible, like, so where I'm at now is, quote, terrible somewhere in my mind. And like, honestly, right now, I'm content. Like, this is clearly my homeostasis point. I've been sitting at this weight now for the last, like I said, 2 years. With like, the normal amount of fluctuation that one goes through if you're like on a bad stretch of, eating out a lot, or if you're, you know, not focusing on how much you're consuming. Like, like I hate that I think this much about food. Like, I never, ever before I lost weight thought about calories ever in my life. I was like, I don't understand calories. Calories are made up. Like, what is the point of calories? That's stupid. And then I was like introduced to calorie counting and I started doing it and I was losing weight from doing it. And I cannot help but think every time I eat something, how many calories is in that? Like, even now, like 2 years from like calorie counting and restricting my food, I still think and I still guilt trip myself if I like get fast food on the way home from work because I'm friggin' starving after a work day and I eat it on the way home because it's just easier than driving 25 minutes home, cooking a meal for another 20 to 30 minutes, and then finally eating at 7:30 at night. Like, I'm just gonna grab something on the way home half the time, or like eat right before I leave work. So, anyway, I guilt trip the fuck out of myself when I do that because then I'm like, oh my God, you fat fucking slob, look at you eating fast food again. Think of how many calories this is. Like, this is why you look the way you look. Like, I am just so horrible to myself with food. I think about it even at work. I'm like, oh my God, you had 2 scones today. What the fuck are you doing, Liam? That's disgusting. Like, and these are the thoughts I'm having about myself, even still. Even still. And I'm trying so hard to not. Like, and honest to God, if I could do anything, I would go back to 2019 me and I would just let myself be happy at the weight I was at then. Because it's almost harder now because I'm like, oh, look, I've done it. I've gotten small. I've been that like really fit and attractive person. Like that was the only time in my life that I felt truly like confident and attractive and like I knew that people were looking at me because I was attractive, you know? Like that was the only time in my life I felt like that. Where I just was like I am sexy and I feel so good in my body, and that sucks because it's like this unrealistic and unattainable standard for myself that I've set for myself. And it's harder now because I'm like, well, I've done it before. Like I look back on old memories, especially from like 2020, 2019, 2020, and I'm like, it looks like I'm looking at a different person, which is how I used to feel about my bigger self when I was small. When I had lost all the weight, I'd look back at the photos and be like, is that really me? It doesn't even look like me. And now I look at photos of me skinny and I'm like, who is this pretentious fucking asshole who's taking shirtless douchey selfies all the time? And like, you know, I thought I was fucking hot shit because I felt like hot shit. You know what I mean? And, you know, like I want to feel the way about myself now. I want to like myself right now because I really do. I genuinely like, I don't think about my weight or like things like that like half the time. I'm just living and I'm not conscious of it. But then like other times it's like I just feel self-conscious of myself, which like one of the things that is the hardest for me is like I'm really content with my upper body. Like from chest up, I'm like I'm solid. I look good. This is my favorite part of myself, you know. Here up. The rest down I don't like as much. And honestly, I don't mind having belly fat. Like that doesn't bother me at all. What is so hard for me is like I carry a lot of weight in my legs. So my ass is big and I don't like it. It feels very feminine to me. It has always bothered me for my entire life. And the only time that I had like a masculine butt was when I lost a lot of weight because I had no fat on me anymore. I had very little fat. And I just hate that I was so mean to myself even then. Like I had these still like on my hips, just little pouches of fat that never went away, even when I was 60 pounds less than where I am now. You know, I still have, and I called them my fat pouches, and I hated them so much, and I hated myself when I picked at myself. And I would like even like I would ideally like to be maybe 20 pounds less than where I am right now, simply because it would take some off of my butt and I'd feel better about myself. But like otherwise I really feel okay. And but like 2 years ago when I was gaining weight back and I weighed 180, I was like I'm so disgusting. I was so mad at myself then for being fat. And now here I am like that's just my goal. I wish I could get down a little lower. I never want to be skinny like I was. I don't want to be 60 pounds lighter ever again. That was not sustainable or healthy for me at all. I was literally on a starvation diet to do that. And I was working out for like, I was working a manual labor job and I was working out like 2 hours every morning. Like, it was not healthy or sustainable, but I was like obsessed with how I looked. And like, I'm trying to find a balance. Like, right now, I do not work out at all. I walk the dog like most days for at least 20 minutes, but could be longer if I got my ass out of bed. I could probably do a workout from home. My mom has weights and equipment here from COVID times. But like I don't make the time. So it's like I could be doing better. I could be doing more, but I'm not. And I also guilt trip myself about that because I used to have all the time in the world for the gym. Then I got married. It was a lot harder to fit fitness into my life when I was married and when I got the dog because let's face it, he's like a kid. He takes a lot of care. When I was first losing weight, I just had cats. I could get up at 4 a.m. or roll out of bed and like leave and go work out for 2 hours, go to work all day, come back, and they were totally fine. Like they don't need my attention, they don't need anything from me. They're fucking self-sustaining. So I could just roll out of bed and go and do it. Even when Han and I moved in together, I lived in the apartment by myself for several months while I was doing this like 75 hard challenge, which was like a super restrictive weight loss thing. It's supposed to be like a mental toughness thing. It's about losing weight. Like, let's be real. Well, I was doing that. So again, I had no responsibilities. It was just me and 3 cats. I didn't even have Han yet there. I could just get up at 4 a.m., roll out for my 2-hour morning walk, workout, go to work all day, go spend time with Han all night, and fucking Palpatine, go home and sleep a few hours and do it all again. And I had no responsibilities. I didn't really have a house to clean because I was barely even living there. I was just sleeping there. Like, everything was so different. And my job was like, so my job again was a workout and also super flexible because I worked for myself. So I could set my schedule and I could say, I'm going to go work out in between these 2 things, or I'm going to work out on my way home, or, you know, like I was in complete control. Now I go when I work a 40 to 50 hour work week between my 2 jobs, more than that, really, if I'm honest. I have a hard time controlling my time at work because I really like being there. So it tends to like bleed very easily. Plus I work 2 jobs. So I really have no days off. And on Tuesdays I babysit. So that's a whole day. Where again, I could get up early and work out before I go and do that, or I could work out when I get home, but I'm too tired on either end of it. And I just don't feel like there's time. And like people would say, well, you're just making excuses. Like if you're in the fitness world, people would say, you're making excuses. There's no good excuse. But like I simply don't have the time. And I guess maybe it's not as much of a priority as I feel like it is because I'm like not making time for it. If it really mattered to me that much, you think I'd make time for it. So maybe it just doesn't matter to me, and that's why it's not becoming a priority. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I'm talking like 1,000 miles an hour, but I just have a lot of thoughts about this because it's just been in my head for so long. And like, just the other day, like at softball, I was feeling really shitty about myself, even though like literally all of the cis men on the team are like overweight, so I don't know what I was comparing myself to other than a bunch of overweight 40-year-old men. Like, but I felt really insignificant. Like, okay, I should be like faster and more fit for this sport so I can like prove myself to these men. You know what I mean? It was a weird vibe. It doesn't always feel like that, but there's one guy in particular, when he comes, it kind of changes the dynamics a little bit. And I feel more of a, like, I need to be manly. You know what I mean? I don't know why. Interesting. Which kind of segues into another thing I've been thinking about a lot lately. Ever since I saw Barbie, I have just like, I don't know how to describe, like, I just don't know how to describe this in a way that might make sense, but like, I don't miss being a woman. Like, I know I'm a man. I love being a man. I know that he, him is who I am. I feel very secure in my masculinity, in my manhood, and like, even as a person who wants to get pregnant and have a kid one day, I still know I'm a man. Like that's who I am on the inside. That's who I've always been. I know that to be true, but I miss womanhood. I don't know if that makes sense. I think I just miss the community feeling. Like, obviously, I was raised as a woman. Most of my friends are women. I have a handful of cis male friends, and most of them I've met in a post-transition world, so they never knew me as a woman, which I think creates a good dynamic. I don't know. I'm not going to get into that. What I want to say is I miss the camaraderie of women. Like, I feel like traditional like societal manhood is not a fit for me because it's so toxically masculine. And I feel like I know a lot of really great cis men who are all the things that the traditional society says not to be. And I think we're turning a corner, hopefully, towards like better men and like raising a new generation of like emotionally aware and competent people. And sorry, I gotta stretch. Hi, bud. Oh my goodness. You're the cutest. Anyway, he's literally just like laying on my leg. But I guess I just miss the camaraderie of womanhood, the sisterhood. Like, I just watched Barbie and I was like, I feel so much for this, like, especially the monologue and like all of it just hit so hard, but like it's not my thing to connect to anymore. You know what I mean? Like, it's not my place as a man in the world to be like, this movie is so important to me. I mean, I feel like I'm not allowed to, I guess, say that this movie felt so important to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I just miss womanhood in some ways. And not even womanhood. I think it is like just the community sense where it's like you're together. I feel like men in a traditional society, I'm talking like the toxic masculinity men. It feels like, and I feel like some of my cis male friends probably would agree with this statement I'm about to make, but I feel like as a man, you're just against all the other men. You're just constantly trying to be better, stronger, fitter. Like, it's just a competition. Make more money, have more, like, men are just against each other. But I feel like women are together against men. You know what I mean? Obviously, there's issues within women dynamics. Like, I'm definitely making generalizations here, but in my experience, I feel like I'm alone as a man in manhood. You know, I don't feel any camaraderie with men, and maybe that's because I've only been a man outwardly for 7 years, and I don't have a lot of male friends. I feel like when I worked with Eric doing septic stuff, I felt like I was getting man lessons from him, but he is just one man out of many that I know. And I have another friend also named Eric, who I feel like I'm getting life lessons from him in a different way, in just the sense of we just connect on a lot of stuff. But it's funny that they're both named Eric, that I feel like I'm getting my like life support guidance from. But yeah, I just, it's been an interesting dynamic. These are the things floating around in my head lately. It's just like body image stuff, and it all kind of connects because being raised as a woman, you fixate a lot on your body. And also, like, being a trans person, there's a lot of thought about your body, how to feel good in your body. You're very conscious of your body, and does it feel good, you know? Like, it just feels almost like the two things are just, like, clashing and exploding into an image struggle. You know? So, but I really just want to, I feel like I'm doing better than in the past. I just want to keep moving forward on the, like, loving my body, accepting my body, being okay, like, where I'm at, and not constantly seeking to shrink, you know? I need to stop shrinking myself. So, anyway, if you listen to this whole thing, you are the real fucking MVP, because it's been 18 minutes almost. And Ruben just tolerates me babbling all night long to my camera. So thank you. You're such a good boy. Yes. Anyway, it's getting hot in here, so I'm gonna turn my fan on. I'm gonna shut up and go to bed. But yeah, I hope you guys are having a good week, and I will ramble at you next time.